CSL Simi Valley.
Morning.
How's everybody doing this morning? Whoa, when we came back after COVID, when the COVIDian age began to wane, we came back in person and we created the Welcome Home slide. But today, Welcome Home has a whole different meaning. Have you noticed? Like, we get to welcome Dylan home, right? Back here from Colorado, that's Dee's son. We get to welcome Maureen and Marlene, Donna, Nancy, who's been here but had all started here under Dr. Dennis. We get to welcome Jim and Dorianne home. Wow! I'm tired already. Thank you, Alberto, for having this chair here. Yeah. And I get to feel welcome home, too, because I've been at Camp Cedar Ridge. Anybody know what Camp Cedar Ridge is? Well, my friends, the Centers for Spiritual Living ran into this guy named Larry Steele, who owned a basketball camp in Oregon. And he was tired. And we were excited. And we said, we'll take that off your hands. So we bought it. We now own a camp. Check it out. Check it out. John, the camp, please. That's the view from my window while I was at the camp. Is that gorgeous? It's a beautiful, hit click so it'll play. It's not playing. There it is. Okay, so that's the main view area. Wildlife. I mean, this is wintertime in Oregon. It's not even as green as it normally gets. This is our camp board. Back there they hold weddings in an amphitheater. Tons of trails, miles of trails to walk along. It's beautiful. Look how just rich and green in the middle of the wintertime already. It's just a beautiful place. A lovely creek that goes past with super clear water. They have what they call a little beach where you can kind of swim and wade into the creek there and maybe even do a little canoeing. They do a lot of weddings. They've got weddings booked out through 2025. So it's also a revenue builder for the Centers of Spiritual Living. That's the expansive space of it. And in just a minute, here's our board of directors. Steve Gabrielson. This is the director of the camp, Casey Wilson. Tracy Brown. Steve Burton is the president of the board. And then Charlie McClure. And that's our mission there. That's the whole the slogan. Discover the good. Discover the good. I was there on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I was there this week, right? So I just got back from that. And then I ran off with our practitioners to a symposium for a couple of days. Now, who knows the current minister of the Redondo Beach Church of Centers for Spiritual Living? Who knows the minister? Who said that? Kathy did. You already knew. You're easy. You're supposed to know. Here, Kathy, this is what you get. You didn't say it.
I didn't.
Who said it then? Who else said it then? Somebody else over here said it.
We all said it.
Take this book and give it to somebody. All right. Who was the minister before Dr. Moore? Reverends don't get to say. Okay, Kathy, come get this. I'm not going back there again. All right. Now this is the wild one now. All right. How many years has the Redondo Beach Church, ministers can jump in on this one if they want to, if you want this book. How many years has the Redondo Beach Church been chartered? 61. You have one. Who else said 60? There you go, Jan. You got it. Here. That was a good guess. We're all doing about guesses. Okay. So that's some of the stuff's going on. Our practitioners are all prayed up. Marianne was there. Nancy was there. I was there. And John Newbill was also. Oh, there's John. John's back in the back. He was there. It was fantastic. It was really a wonderful experience. We had Michael Gott and Ray Davis leading with the music. That was elevating just on its own, and then the programs and stuff. So when you go for prayer after service today, your practitioners are truly prayed up and ready to go. They're ready to jam on that. All right, then we got some events coming up. One of them is the sound bath. That's happening on the 3rd. We have been borrowing. I just love being in the interfaith community. Dr. Jim set that up. He started going to these interfaith meetings, and I continue to go. And I go to Simi and to Conejo Valley. Well, whenever we need to do the sound bath, we've been borrowing candles from the LDS church. This morning, John Tolson came by and delivered, I don't know, 35, 40 brand new candles, little light up candles that we're going to use to light up the room for our sound bath. It's going to be on February 3rd. So come out for the sound bath, relax, rejuvenate, renew with Ketrin Earwood. She's an amazing sound bath facilitator. Sliding scale donation, $20 to $50. Then we're having an annual meeting coming up pretty soon. And if you would like to vote, be a governing member of the center, you have to become a member of the center, a governing member, and that is by going to the Discovery class. So we'll be having a Discovery class. It's on February 26th, right after the service, about 12:30. So come out, new member orientation. You'll find out about the center, how we work, get some of the history of the center, and then fill out some forms and become a governing member, which allows you to vote for new trustees and bylaw resolutions and that kind of stuff when we have our annual meeting that's coming up in March. Good? All right, so that's all the stuff that we do, including our community projects, which you'll see in the announcements later, to live our vision and mission statement, which has been, I love this. Dorian helped you guys develop this vision and mission statement. It was a lot of words, because Dorian's like super smart. You know how these super smart people are? They make white papers, documents. So we crunched it down, because I like, you know me, I like thin books. So we crunched it down into this right here. Here you go. Let's do it together. We're a community, inclusive, loving, and authentic. We celebrate all paths to God in gratitude, empowering self and others. We serve compassionately through outreach, inspiration, and education. That's who we are. That's why we're here. And here's what we do. Beginning with prayer. Karen. Welcome, Karen Batten.
Thank you. I invite you to join me in the stillness and know that there is just one thing going on here, and that is wholeness and completeness. This wholeness and completeness, this God, this presence, is all things. It makes things alive. And it is here right at this instant, expressing as everyone in the world, expressing as everything, and expressing as everyone listening to my voice. And this sermon, I know, is blessed. It is sacred. Because like all things, it is whole, it is complete. It is one essence. And so what I know is that everyone in this room, everyone listening on Zoom, on whatever, everyone listening is filled with the joy and the love and the wholeness that is expressed today in this sermon. And what I know is it is perfect. And I surrender to it all. I am so grateful for all who made this possible. I am so grateful for the entire CSL community, all of the service teams, and Reverend Stephen. Knowing my word is absolutely, perfectly true, I release it into law, and so it is.
And so it is.
Let's all stand and sing. So, you know, we've got the Cosmic Kids Guardian of the Galaxy program working, but we've had to put our Cosmic Kid program on hold for just a bit while we satisfy some California state requirements. But that doesn't mean we're stopping holding the intention for blowing this place up with a bunch of Cosmic Kids running around, right? So we're holding that concept in mind as we continue to get ourselves in line with all of the state regulations so that we can have our Cosmic Kid Guardians of the Galaxy ready to go, all right? So hold that intention for us. Karen.
The affirmation for today: I commit to the biggest surrender of all, to love completely. All together now. I commit to the biggest surrender of all, to love completely. And the reading is from Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. When Jesus said, "He that loseth his life for my sake shall find it," he must have been referring to that part of us which denies this supreme presence, that part of us which lives contrary to it, that part of us that is out of harmony with it. He was telling us that there are certain things we have to surrender before we can find our true center, the real spirit, or the perfect man, which he always assumed to be there. What he was saying is that when we put our trust in external things alone, we are certain to become disillusioned, for a person may have a fortune one day and lose it the next. He was saying that when we fail to live in accord with the divine, we bring suffering on ourselves. So we see that losing our lives or making the great surrender to spirit does not mean losing anything worthwhile, but getting rid of those things which deny the presence and the power of the spirit right here on earth.
All right, we welcome Alberto Del Pino. Good to have you, my friend. Oh, Sherry, are you going to join him in song today?
I am.
Nice.
And it's old school week.
All right. We like it that way.
Two old ministers. Not old ministers, you know what I mean.
Ooh.
You know, they know I love them up. So good to see you, and Donna. Dorian. Look who's here. Too bad Gracie's not here. Let me tune too. Somewhere over the rainbow way, up high, in a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney top, that's where you'll find me. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. If happy little bluebirds fly among the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?
Wow. So gorgeous. So it's time for the meditation, the gap meditation. The gap is that place between the in-breath and the out-breath, that silent place. That's the God awareness place. You'll have 3 minutes, and Sherry Deeds will bring you out with some lovely music. I know many of you are regular meditators, but if you aren't, you might consider starting a regular meditation practice with the gap.
Thank you so much, Karen. We got another one from Alberto.
So, first of all, good morning, everybody. Today is the 29th of January, and every 27th of January, I don't know if you know that, but it's International Day of Remembrance for the Holocaust. And I thought, what a better occasion to play the main theme from the movie Schindler's List by John Williams. And I don't know if you know the story of this piece, but of course I assume that all of you have seen the movie. But the song itself, actually the whole score itself has a story. And the story goes that and it's a true story, it's not a legend, that Steven Spielberg did a rough cut of the movie and then invited John Williams to see the rough cut and so that he could write the score. And at the end of the screening, John Williams was crying, and he said to Spielberg, he said, "Steve, I don't think I can do this. You need a better composer than me." And Steven Spielberg said, "I know, but they were all dead." That's why I called you. And what a magnificent work John did with this movie. It's an unbelievable soundtrack, of course. And this song in particular, the one that I'm going to play for you now, is number one. So here we go with the Schindler's List theme.
Alberto Del Pino, that was beautiful. Beautiful, Alberto. Thank you so much. Oh. The Great Surrender. I had to just surrender to that song. Just let me just. That's a lot to come back from because that movie is so powerful. And as I was listening to it and thinking about how challenging it's been for us as a species to surrender to the kind of violence that led to that, to surrender the kind of violence that we continue to see in our country, I couldn't even bring myself to, I don't need to watch another one of those videos. But I can't not think about it, you know. And just a week ago, we were talking about Monterey Park. You know, there have been 40 mass shootings already this month. And we're just into the new year in the country. And we've exported it to other parts of the world now. We're seeing mass shootings in other parts of the world. It's time for us to surrender to some of this and to let it go. And that wasn't what my original focus was going to be, but that song just put me in that contemplative space. It does remind me, though, that there is some fine print to life, and for some reason we haven't read the fine print. You know, it's like we all just like another app on our, like another update on our phone. Agree, you know, cookies. Agree. We just agree. We agree. You know, no one stops to read all of that. But if we did, I wouldn't have opened this talk with those things that I just talked about. We would be in a different place. You know, we sit in this space of, well, I will if you do this, or I will if you give me that, or I'll love you if you act this way. We have so many conditions that we put on, and there are consequences for this, and we are worried about the consequences. I mean, we don't love and give and share and support each other in all these various ways because, well, you know, I might lose. I might give something away that I really, really want. I might be bettered. You know, you might get over on me, take advantage of me. We're all worried about all that kind of stuff because we're living in this place where no one has surrendered to that divine idea of pure, unconditional love. A lot of mental chatter going on up there. A lot of fear-based stuff happening. But in doing so, we're not able to live in life's true nature. So why religious science? You know, why religious science? We had a lot of talk about that yesterday at the symposium. Why religious science? How did you get here? Not quite yet, John. Just a minute. No, I love that he's listening. And he knows that if he doesn't push me along, we could be here until after the game is over. And I know many of you want to go watch some of those damn games. Me included. So I will speed it up, but why religious science? Religious science. Because, you know, we're curious. And those of us that are in this, we're curious about how do we live life. We're curious about how do we get to the fine print without reading the fine print. Let's let Reverend Stephen or Reverend Jim or Reverend Maureen tell us about the fine print, or Reverend Nancy. So I will. But this thing about religious science, you know, it's about learning to belong. Religion, belonging, yoking, bonding together, religiarity, that's it. We're bonding together, right? And science is, how do you do it? How do you make it happen? How do you experiment with that? Well, the great example has something for us about that. I'm talking about that Jesus guy. The guy that walked around in sandals in a seamless cloak. Wow. He says we should have a childlike nature. That can help us to unlock the secrets of life, to discover the great works, and to grow and expand. And Dr. Holmes likes that idea when he writes, now we can do it. Now we can do it. But here, seriously, no one makes a greater surrender than the scientist, than each one of us, right? For he, she, they is always willing to be led by the truth, no matter what path it seems to take. That's the hard part, the no matter what part. To know that God is in the mass shootings. Oh my God, could that be? It has to be, because there's all one. There's only one thing happening, right? And so that's part of the journey. That's what we get to be curious about. That's what we get to read the fine print about. That's what we sit with a practitioner to help us understand the depths of all of these things. How do we get to that deeper, deeper truth? We continue to stay curious. We have a childlike nature, a wonder, you know? Why? Don't 2-year-olds drive you nuts? Why? Why? We get to do that, you know? It takes time, and it starts really, really early. When I was growing up, in Cincinnati, they had this place called Argo's Corner. Dan Argo's family owned all this land, and the street to their house was a cul-de-sac because they were the powerful folks in Finneytown. So they owned all this property, and all the kids, all the cool kids hung out at Argo's Corner. Well, I was kind of a nerd, so I wanted to be a cool kid. So I went to Argo's Corner, but I knew, deep inside, I knew that I was a nerd. I like to read. I like books. I like technology. I like to fix things. I like to sit at home. I like to dream. I like to grow. I want to be smart. That wasn't the thing at Argo's Corner. You got to be dumb. Hang out. Yeah, dude. Mm-hmm. Put your hand in your mouth. All right. But I knew inside there was this deeper truth. I knew that. You guys know what I'm talking about. You got that deeper truth inside you. You know, you wanted to do the cool kid thing. Have the right car. Maybe I should get a Tesla. I don't know. But a Nissan Leaf will do just fine, you know? But we want to stretch out and get that kind of stuff. It's safer, we think, to wear the mask, to camouflage our true identity, to not stand, to make believe that this is really my life, when in truth, if we surrendered to that inner voice, there would be more joy, more happiness, see? But we are so busy accepting the average. Living by the law of averages. Well, that's not going to get you very far at all. You're going to miss your greater life goodness if you're living by the law of averages, because the law of averages is pretty bad. Look around us. The law of averages led to all that stuff we were talking about just a minute ago. It leads to people not speaking up, not living their truth, not saying something. When you see it, do it. You see the litter on the street, it bothers you, pick that stuff up. I tell you about the folks in Lake Travis. I used to go to Lake Travis when I was growing up in Austin. Beautiful place. 19 years old, and you're being taken out to a lake where everybody lays out nude. That's cool enough. That's enough to get you want to go back. But then, when you see these old folks walking around carrying a bag, every time we would go out to Windy Point, there was this old couple, and they were picking up trash. And I'm like, why do you guys come out here and pick up trash all the time? And he just holds out his arm, and there it was. His tattoo, his number, for when he was a survivor. He says, if I told myself if I got out of this place, I was always going to make the world a better place. And so if I come here and I see trash, I'm going to pick it up. So he surrendered to his greater truth. Despite the pain that he went through, he found that there was a truth path no matter what. He was curious to walk in that space. Sometimes we don't need to have control. And sometimes wanting to have control becomes our biggest obstacle to life, our biggest obstacle to the miraculous things that happen in life and keep us divided. And we know that if we are divided spiritually, we live in duality. We live in the idea that good and bad are on separate things when they're really just on an end of a continuum and are complementary opposites, and we can accept those two and move beyond one by knowing that the other is there. But if we don't, we're at odds. We're at odds with ourselves, and now we're in battling with ourselves. And you know what that talks about? Dr. Holmes says about that too. He says that when we resist, we make that thing real in our imagination, which we are sincerely trying to get rid of. We become a house divided against itself. So when that little urge is coming to you and it's calling you, it's saying, come on, you can do this. You really can do this. But the yeah buts get on there, you know, and you pick up that pill, you take a whole box of that Effidol pills, you know. That stuff is going to keep you the house divided from yourself. We got to find a place to blend together. And that's the great surrender. That's the great acceptance. Can you accept your inner truth and step into your spiritual path? And to do that, there's a 4-word slogan for it. Let go, let God. Let go, let God. And back to the great example. I think it's because I was hanging out with a Unity minister yesterday. I got a lot of Jesus in my talk today. This happens when you hang out. You know, Michael Gott started out religious science, but he got a lot of Jesus in his life right now because he's at that Unity church. But be that as it may, I like the stories of Jesus. When you read the Jesus print, like get yourself a Bible and read the red stuff. That's good stuff. All the black stuff, the commentary in between, it's like the Wall Street Journal opinion page. But the red stuff is seriously good. And one of the red things says, we must lose our lives to find it. And now, in that, he's not asking us to step into poverty and limitation. No, not at all. I mean, remember, this is the guy that did the fishes and the loaves. Party! To turn water into wine. Hang out with your friends, right? This is the guy that walked around, as I said, in a seamless garment. Now, in that age, that was kind of hard work. It took a lot of work to put something together and make it seamless. That was affluence. So we're not supposed to not live a great life. The surrender, the die, is to surrender that part of us that denies the spiritual truth of who we really are. To surrender to that part of us that keeps us out of harmony. To surrender that part of us that blocks us from the divine presence that is a part of our very being. That part that's calling to you. So you're not losing your life if you let go. Letting go in that space is going to make your life work. It makes our lives better. It's opened us up to that space where we're letting go of all that's not love. All that's not unkindness to self and to others. To self and to others. Back to the living science of mind. Karen pulled from that wonderful essay. It's called The Great Surrender. And it says that it is the great negations of life that we have to surrender. The doubts, the fears, the uncertainties, the coldness, the unkindness, the lack of love. When we do that, we step into the big win. I'm calling it the big win, the unconditional love. We find personal satisfaction with life. We find a creative inspiration. Stuff starts to show up and we start to know how to do what we think we don't know how to do. We can surrender to the inner presence that's calling to us all the time. You're not going to lose anything. Everything that's worthwhile comes to us. And anything that we can lose in the physical space, it's temporal anyway. It's temporary. It can be replaced. All of it, right? But this stuff inside here never goes away, doesn't need to be replaced when we live in the light. When we live in the light, again, when we begin and live our lives in that childlike wonder of curiosity, of acceptance. Dr. Holmes loves his visions, his imagery. This is why I love this imagery on this one. He says, as light overcomes the darkness, as the presence of heat causes the atmosphere of the room to change until it is warm and comfortable. Pause, time out, tangent. Hey, how's it feeling here today? Wow! Central heat! Who created that? I don't know, but I'm glad they installed it in our building after all these years. It feels pretty comfortable, right? Tangent over. Back to the talk. So, as light overcomes darkness, as the presence of heat causes the atmosphere of the room to change till it is warm and comfortable, so the radiant presence of love and peace dissipates fear, hate, and confusion. Sit with that for an idea. Sit with that for a moment. All we need to do is to sit in the radiant presence of love and peace. And the fear, the hate, the confusion goes away. The light opens up and shines away the darkness, and everything begins to change. And it's up to us. We can do that. We can do that. We can do that collectively. We don't, it's time for, I get it. We treat for things and we go, oh, that didn't work. Well, because you see, there's this collective consciousness going on too. There's this larger thing that we're a part of. And there are no boundaries, as I've talked about before. Right now, check it out. All right, try to look just at my nose. I know it's painful, but try it just anyway. Look just at my nose, and you can still see the podium, the board behind me. You can see the quartz crystals. Just keep looking right here. You see the quartz crystal bowls. Maybe you can even, if you got good peripheral vision, you can see the candle over here and the teaching symbol while you're looking right here. Because the boundaries, we all make them up. There are no boundaries. So that's also with your thoughts. As we think this way, as we become living and breathing the presence of love, peace, then our thoughts dissipate the fear, dissipate the anger, dissipate the darkness. Don't believe it? That's why it's not happening. That's why it's not happening. So we surrender. See, our surrender requires change. Got this from Reverend Valerie yesterday. Change. She calls change centered heart around new growth experiences. Change. Centered heart around new growth experiences. We just need to surrender to that change. It's like breaking out of prison, except this kind of breaking out of prison, there's nobody chasing you. Nobody coming to find you. It's the supreme escape and it's the supreme victory all at the same time. This unconditional surrender of living fully, loving fully, living authentically. Well, it comes with conditions. Unconditional love comes with conditions. Imagine that. Reverend Valerie Reeves also told a story yesterday about telling a story to her son. They're driving in the car together. She's telling this story to her son, and I don't remember what the story was. That's not important. The important part is she looked over at her son, and he was smiling. And she says, "Why are you smiling?" He says, "That's okay." So she went on with the story, and he kept smiling. At the end of the story, he says, "Why were you smiling?" "No, because you've told me that story before." "Well, why didn't you stop me?" "Because you really love telling that story." That's surrender, right? But there's two parts to that. One is we have stories that we really love to tell. And some people will let us continue to tell that story. That's one part. So maybe we need to change the story. But the other part is sometimes we have to sit in the loving presence and listen so that the story can change. Because she also, in his listening that way, found the realization, oh, I've told the story before, and now she won't tell the story anymore. So it works both ways. That's why there are no opposites. It's all on the same continuum, right? So the conditions around the unconditional love are we need to stay present like her son was. We need to stay focused like he did in that story. No matter what, we have to stay open to hear the whole thing, even though we may have heard it before, while we're knowing something totally different can happen. And that takes being courageous. Those are the conditions to unconditional loving. Staying focused, present, staying open, and being courageous. Right? Remember, the law of averages, life has got a lot of variability to it. And a lot of temporariness to it. Things are going to change. Things are going to go away. And that's where we can find some hope. While we're looking and talked about those things that were so distasteful to talk about and think about at the top of the service, we have the ability to change all of that. You know, so I'm not talking anything about getting new cars or finding parking places, because we all got that. We're doing great. But on the collective level, and as religious scientists who practice a collective understanding of the change of thought and how those change of thoughts become changes of things, this is our next evolution to move to that space. To move to that space that Dr. Holmes says where love breaks down the iron bars of thought, shatters the walls of material belief, severs the chain of bondage which thought has imposed, and sets the captive free. Are you ready to be free? Are you ready to be set free? You can do it. It's yours to do. All you need to do is the great surrender. And so it is. Okay. So let's do our affirmation. You ready? You ready to commit? All right. I commit to the biggest surrender of all, to love completely. You know, when the room is lit up with the kind of power we have today, you got to use some of it. So I'm going to invite Jim and Dorianne up. I know it's a holiday for you, but come work. As we do our revealing prayer, I'll start it. I'll pass to Jim, he'll do the realization, he'll pass to Dorianne, he'll do the closing. But before we do that, do you guys want to talk about what you've been doing or what's up, or just say hello or anything like that?
Sure.
Okay. It's on.
Is this on?
It's on.
I remember the old days when I would say, is this on? And sometimes it was, and
right?
sometimes it wasn't.
I know, it's still those days.
Well, we've been very blessed to be able to travel quite a bit. We have spent some time in Mexico. We have used to be called a timeshare, and now it's called something else. But so we go there every year, and we're loving France. We have a really wonderful community between Dorianne's chamber music community and the American Club of Lyon, which is a bunch of expats that we get together with regularly, and we're just loving life.
And it's really wonderful to be here and to see all of you and to get to be in person and hug everyone. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're so happy to have you. Okay, so that space, you don't call it the healing, it's the revealing because it's already there. We're just magnetizing it and bringing it into our experience. What is it that you're calling forth into your experience today? Bring that to the conscious level of your mind so it can drop down into the subconscious and become real, right? So this is what I know. There is one life. That life is God. That life is my life, your life, our life, right here and now. And in this understanding, I understand there is a bondedness taking place. There is a unity of community where we live and breathe these principles because we know that we are living in the one. And as we live in the one, we can realize for ourselves in this time and this space the truth of our experiences and let them become the expressions of our life. And I know this is true. And to anchor this truth, I pass my word to Jim.
And what I accept for myself and for everyone here is the fullest realization of Spirit as me. I know that I seek to express love in its fullness, in its richness, in its joy, and in its transformative power. I know that my life is working. It's working well. I know that I have wonderful relationships. I have good health. I express myself with abundance in everything that I see and do, that abundance that gives me the freedom to make choices and to live those choices and to contribute in a big way to the betterment of all humankind and all of creation. So by declaring that I am receiving my good, I am also declaring an intention to give more good into the world. And whatever needs to be transformed, collectively as humanity, I know it is being transformed. We are transforming policing. We are transforming healthcare. We are transforming education. We are transforming government. And we are transforming business to a higher plane of existence that allows everyone to be supported, everyone to be a contributor, and everyone to be accepted. And I accept this for one and all, right here and right now, as I pass this on.
And I am filled with gratitude for these words. These words are the truth for all. They're spoken to the law. And this gratitude that I feel within me, it is expressed in every activity of my life, in every action, and it is expressed in the form of acceptance and surrender. And so with this gratitude, I release this word. I know that everything that has been spoken in this treatment and forever in all of our treatments is so. And I just let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Whew, powerful. Wow. And you'll be back next week to do this again? Because that was sweet. Thank you so much. Yes.
You know how to do it yourself.
Yes. Got it. Thank you. I was taking notes. It really was. Okay. Are we just so blessed to have this community?
Yeah.
Yeah, and to have the chain of transition that takes place. There's a retreat coming up pretty soon that Dr. Dennis is doing at Camp Cedar Ridge that I'm hoping that the Giants will participate in. We'll give you more information about that. And so it just continue to feed off of all of that. There's just this one thing happening, right? There's also this one thing happening in terms of our abundance, and these are the ways that you get to support your spiritual community. You know them, the donate on the website, the text to the word give to that phone number, or call the office and speak to Danny or Darlene or Bridget, and they'll happily take your credit card information or however else you want to pay some money or donate to the church. Or you can do it the seriously old school way, money, paper stuff. It's going to be put in the baskets, and the ushers are going to pass that around now as you look at some of the week's intentions going on. But before we do that, let's do our affirmation of abundance, and here it is. Divine love, it's doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for Center for Spiritual Living, Simi Valley, and the world now. Divine love is victorious. All right, there you go. Thanks, ushers.
So, so grateful for the generosity of the CSL community. So grateful. May this offering go out into the world and make the world a better place. And so it is.
And so it is. We have one more from Mr. Dalpino.
So I knew that I was going to play that John Williams song, but I had no idea what I was going to play next. Until somebody, when I came here this morning, asked me, do you know this song? It's called Concierto de Aranjuez by Joaquin Rodrigo. And I said, sure. Oh, thank you. He said, what do you mean, thank you? I said, well, I didn't know what to play. Now I do. so here is this wonderful song by Joaquin Rodrigo. And it's a song that was written for guitar and orchestra. And of course, I don't have an orchestra, so I had to do with just this instrument here. And so I did an arrangement that I hope you like. Here we go.
Wow. Alberto. Wow, dude. Beautiful. Oh.
Yes, indeed.
This is a beautiful piece. You can, you're here. Come on. Come on and join me. I like it.
Okay, so am I on here? No.
No, after you figure that out because I'm going to say some thank yous
Okay.
while you get ready. All right, so, gosh, I'm still wanting to thank you for great music, Alberto, and yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Sherry and the all-purpose, the Soul Purpose Band.
All-purpose.
The all-purpose Soul Purpose Band.
Randy.
And Randy had to
Take a
escape to
plane.
go on a flight somewhere because he's busy living his life. I mean, we got this great volunteer band that shows up every week and sometimes need to go and run and do things for their lives. Bob Townley, Steve Fowler. We had one of the L's here back. Lane, so good to have you back. Yeah. All right. Okay. Our service team today, we had Kathy Burton, Ron Young, and then we had Greg and Pat Schaefer as ushering on the team, so we really appreciate you for that. Deborah on the stage. Gregory, oh, look, Colin is in the driver's seat again this week. All right. We still need one more person to jump on the video train so we can have 4 so that Gregory can get a day off, a Sunday off. So we've got 3. We're looking for one more. And speaking of the third, John Mizialko is on slides today, but he also does his booth sometimes, so we like that. And our practitioner of the day, Karen Batten. Go for it.
Thank you. So, things to remember. This. Oh.
No, go ahead. It's there. See, look.
Okay. All
There
right.
it is.
So Wednesdays in February, Elaine Ocasio is going to be presenting a series on unity, goodness, love, the 12 pillars of science of mind. It should be really interesting.
I know. She's good, too.
Yeah,
She's very
yeah.
well grounded, so you'll love that.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, we do. And there's more.
And there's more.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's me. But you could talk about it.
Okay, well, it's about powering your decisions. I believe it's called The Power of Decisions.
Well, the class is Powering Your Decision. The book is The Power of Your Decision. I know, because we like to change things up in Science of Mind.
So who wrote the book?
Raymond Charles Barker.
Oh, he's good.
Oh, yeah.
He is
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah,
It
yeah.
should be a really, really good class.
You are just delightful. You are delightful. We should take this on the road. I'm liking this. This is good. Yeah. When is this class? What's the date? Because let me put it in my phone.
Okay, well, it's February 21st through April 11th,
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays. Okay, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to acknowledge my fellow practitioners.
Okay.
Nancy, let's see.
Oh, you have it written out?
Yeah, I got Nancy Fuller, Marianne Giblin. Is that how you say your last name? Reverend Nancy, I've got you. John Newbell. Dr. Maureen.
Yay.
And then Dr. Jim and Dorian.
Sweet. And where are you going to be
And
after
thank
service?
you. I'm going to be over beneath the exit sign for prayer.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Got anything else for me?
I think we're done, are we?
If you say so. We're done. That's it. No, that's not it. We're going to stand and do our closing benediction. Then we'll sing one more song. Then we'll be done. Oh, there's one other thing. If you guys want coffee and refreshments, because I hear that's starting to come back and people want that sort of, you got to talk to somebody on the service team. We need 2 more people for each week of service team, and that's how you get coffee and refreshments, when somebody shows up and volunteers for it. Okay, here we go with the closing benediction. You ready? I'm at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love. Let's sing. Sherry. All right, Wednesday night, next week, Friday Sound Bath. Busy week coming up here at the center. Participate, join us.